today we're going to talk about problem solving and decision making. And this is just, is it Bam? Is it, okay, problem solving, decision making. Sorry, I got lost because last week we had a very good discussion on root cause analysis, or and root cause and latent analysis. All this recording, by the way, are uploaded in the YouTube channel already. So please feel free to go to the channel and access the recording for your reference. So while Bam is preparing her screen, Bam, I think there you go. I'd enabled the share screen already as we get ready for today's webinar on problem solving, decision making. Our speaker, Maria Luisa Ramirez, or we just call her Bam, is of course, as maybe some of you have met her already, is a Six Sigma black belt practitioner, and she's preparing to flash her slides right now. And she's also a senior business analyst with some of the leading brands here and abroad. She's the former country director of Apple Philippines and of course Epson Philippines. She's currently working with several organizations on strategy, business process improvements, target setting and all that. By the way, speaking of target setting, we're going to do that next week as well with BAM. So without much ado, I'll turn over the floor to our brilliant speaker, subject matter expert as always. And I'm so happy that we have BAM with here in this webinar. Later on, please feel free to raise your questions. There's a chat group here. I'm sure you're familiar with that already. So just raise your question. You can type it there. I can erase it with our speaker at the end of the discussion. And you all know BAM already. BAM is a very interactive speaker. So at any time she may ask questions. The problem here is that she would always ask me the questions. And those questions are really difficult. So BAM, your microphone is open already. So can we just do an audio check? Okay, so Mike, can we hear BAM actually? Just give me a thumbs up sign. BAM, can we check your audio?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. We can, yes, loud and clear, BAM. So ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause, please, for BAM Ramirez. Thank you very much. BAM, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, John. Good afternoon, everyone. So today is going to be quite an exciting 1 hour seminar. Hopefully, I do not go beyond the 1 hour, John. Pero please just alert me if I do have a tendency of doing that one. So although last week I was not really that aware that it was going to be published in YouTube, pero at least now I am already aware. So I'm going to limit most of my actions also because I'm kind of, how do you call this one? Hindi naman ADHD, pero medyo malikot ako mag-seminar. So I hope that everyone is ready for some of their prior beliefs to be challenged when it comes to problem solving and decision making. Because we are going to be talking about a very dynamic approach to problem solving and decision making. And I'm sure most of you have already heard or seen this one in chat groups, in also some of the seminars, and I guess some of them, since naka-ano tayo, quarantine, no? So we love to listen to TED Talks, right? So I don't know whether you're familiar with it, but design thinking. Ano ba talaga yung design thinking? Ikaw, Jong, have you heard about this already before, or has somebody mentioned this to you?
Like
ito na ha. Start na ng question and answer tayo.
Sometimes I have this. I just told you that Bob would always, grill me live on air. So yes, Bam. Of course, we've been using design thinking in our projects, especially on ISO projects. We design systems, we design process. So when you do that, you basically have to keep that mindset we're in. Design is the foremost consideration. But again, of course, we'd always love to hear from you.
Yes, because this is kind of different. In fact, no, this is only in its infancy stage. But when I say infancy stage, the last 15 years, it has only become publicly accepted. Before that, pero sa totoo lang, no, this started design thinking, the concept of design thinking started way back before, after the World War II. No, then they started, engineers started, designers started, architects started to really examine the way that problems are being solved. We have we are used to the scientific method of problem solving and decision making. Remember when we were in our grade school days, no? Diba meron tayong define the problem, after defining a problem, then you have to come up with a hypothesis, and then from there, you have to prepare your materials, and then test your hypothesis, and then afterwards, you come up with a conclusion, right? That is the scientific method of problem solving and decision making. Then came up, no, also after World War II, the Toyota method. Kasi di ba devastated yung devastated yung Japan during that time. So now a lot of thinkers in Japan started to come up with a lot of methodologies wherein they can revive and revitalize their economy. So dyan nag-born yung fishbone diagram, yung a lot about Six Sigma, lahat yan nagsililabasan. Then they started now the Toyota method, the Japanese method of problem solving and decision making. This is when you're going to define the problem, you do it, no? Define a problem and then come up with several alternative solutions. So everyone would, in fact, hindi everyone, a group of SMEs or subject matter experts would sit down in a room and then lay out all their alternative or possible solutions. And then the leader or a group of leaders, a smaller group, would choose the best based on pwedeng Pareto, based on also testing methods or based on Delphi method. Delphi method, ang sarap pakinggan no? Pero what is Delphi method? Delphi method is historical. They just ask the expert and then base it on historical solutions, whether it was successful or not. And then they will choose one. After choosing one, they're going to implement. Now that is the Japanese or the Toyota method of problem solving and decision making. Now, come the 1970s, there were a lot of, they started to analyze. And they found out that a lot of analytical thinking approaches did not actually work because times were changing. People were getting more creative, people were getting more discerning, people were starting to make their own decisions when it came to preferences in a lot of products and solutions and services. And so, syempre, nagbabago ang tao, nagbabago yung mga preferences natin and everything. Therefore, methodologies also have to change. Unfortunately, a lot of companies stuck with the analytical method of problem solving, or they call it another word for it, strategic method of problem solving and decision making. So what happened then was some companies, more on the creative side of the industry, took a look at it. How come all of these services being offered right now? Kasi syempre, di ba yung mga services, yung mga companies, they wanted their products to be advertised and their services to be advertised because their sales were going down. That was a big problem. So they were asking now the design companies and advertising companies, paano ba to? Ano ba nangyayari? So then the designers, in fact, it was not a designer who started this. It started with an engineer. The engineer now started to look into the creative side of problem solving and decision making. And so, wala pang name yon, hindi pa nila sinasabing design thinking. It was more of creative thinking. And he came up with a book that married both the right side and the left brain, the right side and the left side of the brain, into coming up with solutions to problems. In fact, critical problems. At the time, critical problems. Then come the 1970s. The BDO now took a look at this creative thinking methodology and tweaked it even a bit more. And they came up now with design thinking. The concept of design thinking and the worldwide acceptance of design thinking then was established by IDEO. IDEO under Richard Buchanan. No? Richard Buchanan now created the cycle of design thinking. Again, marrying the left brain and the right brain, pero merong difference. It took into account that people have to be part, not only the team that is trying to solve the problem, but the public have to be a part of the decision making and the defining of the problem itself. So dun na ngayon, na-born na ngayon yung design thinking, no, by IDEO. So then, they came up with, ayun, okay. So they came up with the terminology design thinking. And then they started now to find out that, wait, this is working. And they analyze, why is it working? Kasi sino ba talaga? Saan nagsisimula ang problems? It begins with people. So design thinking, in fact, is a human-centered or focused way of solving problems. And it starts with something different. Unlike before, di ba, yung analytical or strategic or the scientific, it always started with defining the problem. Dito hindi eh. In design thinking, you do not start with defining the problem, but you start with something that we're going to talk about later. You will see the difference. So what is it? It is the discipline, design thinking, again. It is the discipline that is focused towards human people talaga, towards people. Unfortunately, that discipline itself, although widely accepted, a lot of corporations now started to embrace the idea of creative thinking, of this design thinking. Unfortunately, you know how people are, we do not only need a discipline, we need a recipe. Let me differentiate the difference between discipline and recipe/tool. Let's talk about something that I do not know how to do, baking. Okay? So medyo kailangan ko yung tulong ni Jong dito sa baking kasi hindi ako masyadong used sa baking. I'm sure Jong is more or less familiar with this one also. Jong, are you familiar with baking? Baking, in fact, is a discipline, right? When you bake, when you are a baker, you have your own discipline in baking. You have to embrace this discipline. Ano ba yung discipline natin in baking? You always have to have your materials, the best materials possible. Materials ba tawag? Ingredients, okay? You have to have their best ingredients. You even have this supplier verification and validation, wherein your source of materials, ingredients, are from a supplier that you trust, right? So that's your discipline. Every time that you bake or come up with a confectioner, then you have to get it from somebody. But it does not stop there. You have to have a tool. What is a tool for baking? I'm not only talking about the tools as in yung mixer, ano pa ba yung mga tools? Yung bowl, yung ganun. Let's talk about one tool, and that is the recipe. Okay, the recipe book, or not an ebook for your recipe. You need this in order to standardize your products or services. So this is what the difference between design thinking and a recipe. Design thinking is the discipline. We will talk about, and it does not always work eh, kasi syempre, companies then would not know, o sige, ito nga yung discipline natin, pero how do we go about it? Eh, yung scientific method, saka yung analytical method, saka yung Toyota method, eh, meron yung recipe. It tells me step by step what to do. So in design thinking, what do I do? So now, Google Ventures came up with one of the best, for me, one of the best, and for a lot of other corporations, recipes or tools. And this is what we're going to talk about after we dwell on design thinking, the principle first, the discipline. And this is called design sprints. Design sprints is a rapid creative problem-solving methodology. Bakit maganda to for me? Kasi rapid eh. Di ba, for example, let me give you uh, example kung bakit importante yung rapid. Times are changing, and every now and then, in fact, but the only thing that we are sure of in this life is death and change, right? So change is constant. So we have to be able to adapt. In fact, sabi nga natin, the mortality of a corporation is dependent on how fast they make decisions and how fast they can solve problems. O yun pa lamang, kailangan rapid the way that we adapt and solve problems. And it constantly just surprises us. Example, ngayon pa lamang, paano yung, di ba, nagkaroon tayo ng GCQ kayo na. Ngayon, kamusta na, Jong? ECQ?
Oh, well, we are back to ECQ.
Yes, so you're back. Samantalang, when you were in GCQ, di ba, you're already adjusting. You know, what am I going to do? O sige, ganito na yung gagawin natin. Biglang ngayon, nag-announce. How were you given notice or what that it was going to be reverted back to ECQ? How?
Actually, Bam, people here are calling it SECQ.
Ano naman yung S? Ano naman yung S?
You want to know? It's a surprise enhanced community quarantine.
O, diba? Diba, so then, what's going to happen now? You already planned for it. So right now, everything that you plan for, diba, ang tao pa naman when we create solutions to problems, and then when we think of processes, medyo matagal-tagal yan Matagal-tagal natin pinag-usapan, pinag-isipan, dinocument, rinol out, medyo matagal yan So then, kailangan natin, we need a methodology, or not a methodology, we need a recipe, a tool that will enable us to think of the problem and make decisions in a matter of days. Ang design sprints, you in fact create it and make it in 5 days. 5 days lang yan, not more than 5 days. Okay, so let's go back now to the psychology or the discipline of design thinking before we go to this. I would like also to baseline now. We only have about an hour and I've already consumed about 27 minutes kasi di ba nag-start naman tayo ng so 17 minutes lang, Jong. Kasi naka-metro ako nito parang taxi Hindi ako pwede sumobra.
No worries, no worries. Take your time. Take your time.
Okay, I will tell you sabi mo, take my time. Okay, so then, we are on baseline. We are going to touch on it. But of course, the design sprints, for you to really be not even an expert, to be good at it, you have to undergo a workshop. So when we do our full-blown also, we are going to offer, diba, Jong, a workshop, an actual, because learn by doing tayo Just like in design thinking, I'd like to put that in. It is learn by making. It centers on prototyping each and every design that you do. Whether it's a service, a product, okay? It doesn't matter. Service man or something that is tangible, you prototype. Because this is user-focused Ano ba yung prototype? Yung prototype, sino yung nagtetest ng prototype? Yung user. Sino nagde-decide? Then, kung anong klaseng prototype, it's also the user. It's the human, it's the public, the people who are actually going to use the solution. Ito ang design. Again, it is a philosophy. We're talking about design thinking first. Philosophy and a discipline that enables you to solve wicked problems creatively. Ano ba yung wicked problems? Ngayon ko lang narinig yan, di ba? Wicked problems, in fact, were also ginawang terminology nito ni Richard Buchanan. Richard Buchanan is one of the founders of IDEO. Okay, so wicked problems. What are wicked problems? They are problems that do not have a clear yes or no, right or wrong answer to. Hindi ito yung mga problem. Give me an example. I'll give you muna an example and then I'd like to ask you to give me an example. Jong, ayan, I'm already giving you heads up. I will ask you for an example of a wicked problem. Right now, no, let's think about it. E-learning is a wicked problem. E-learning when it comes to our students. Di ba? Laking problema yan. They cannot go to school. They cannot learn. Tapos biglang, what's the problem itself? How do we enable our youth to learn? Is there a clear, definite answer? We have to consider the environment. We have to consider also the people. Unfortunately, I do not want to, pero unfortunately, a lot of, I'm trying to be careful here. Okay, a lot of decision makers have yet to embrace the discipline of design thinking. They have to know first the pulse of the masses. They have to know what is happening out there before thinking in here, right? In order to come up with possible solutions to the problem. And so therefore, ito, wicked problem to it. So let us try to embrace the methodology or the discipline of design thinking. Let's get into that now. It's very different kasi human-centered to creative to. It is composed of the following life cycle. Again, life cycle to. I'm not talking about the steps, but the life cycle. Just like in project management, di ba, meron tayong life cycle ng project management. Pero when it comes to the methodology like Prince 2, there are several steps in each. Para bang, let's put it this way, this is a zoom out approach. Zoom out. Ibig sabihin, can my mouse be seen when I point?
I'm not sure, but I can hover my mouse actually.
Ito. I can do this, felt tip pen. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Kasi felt tip. Okay. So, zoom out yan. For example, in the first stage, which is empathize, no? Ang daming, Yes. Ang daming little steps niyan within that circle of empathize. Then define again. There are a lot of steps under the define. The ideate, there are a lot of steps under the ideate. Prototype, there are a lot of steps also, and test. Okay, so we will be talking about the life cycle muna ngayon. Then later on, I will give you a recipe, a tool that you can use immediately. But of course, again, baseline, foundation, tong 1 hour na to, wherein I've already consumed 33 minutes, no? So this is just parang a foundation. We would need a workshop for you to really be good at it or to be more informed about it. So let's go through the steps. So empathize, define, ideate, prototype, and test. Okay, again, cyclical to. Before I start, I'd like to remind, cyclical. Pero mamaya, baka malito kayo kasi sasabihin ko sa inyo that design sprints are linear. But the design thinking discipline is cyclical. Bakit cyclical? Because in design sprint, sabi natin, 5 days lang yan. Kailangan rapid yan. So in day 1, ito yung gagawin mo. In day 2, ito, so forth and so on. In 8 hours, you have to finish this. Huwag kang babalik. But you can, the reason why it's cyclical, at the end of 5 days, if the result of the test is not good, then you go back to the start. That is the reason why they call it cyclical. Let's start. Ready na? Again, discipline to, mindset, reform yan, diba? Hindi yan mag-work unless wala kang tool. So again, I'd like to remind you, it will not work unless you have a tool. That's why I included within this 1 hour a tool, because that is very important. I do not want you to go out there, let's embrace design thinking, ano gagawin natin? How are we going to start? So now you will find out at the end how you're going to start.
Yeah, Bam, before, Bam?
So, Yes.
Bam, before you dive straight into the phases, maybe our audience right now is thinking, can design thinking be actually applied to whichever type of problem, complex, simple, big, small, in the respective organizations? Your thoughts?
Yes. In all problems, but again, no, wicked problems, problems that do not have a clear yes or no, right or wrong, which in fact, no, which as a matter of fact is all the problems that we are facing right now. Walang clear direction. Later on, I will give you a checklist wherein design thinking or design sprints is most applicable to, and
All
which
right.
problems are not.
Okay.
Anticipated ko na yun.
Okay.
So, bibigyan ko kayo ng mamaya ng checklist.
Thank you, Bam. Go ahead, Bam.
Okay, then. Let's go straight, no? Anyway. Ay, ba't naging to? Number, isang slide na ba ako? 12, okay. So, again, no, let's go slide. So, okay. So that's what design thinking is all about. No, we know already the discipline. Are we ready to go into design sprints?
Let's go.
Let's go now. Okay, so this is the tool. Does everyone understand what design thinking is all about? Again, design thinking is human-centered. It goes through, it in fact puts into the first phase, empathize. Okay, let's go back to that para lang to be clear before I go to design sprints. Let's take a look at it. The cycle. Okay. Empathize. In the first stage of design thinking, we get the pulse of the people. And when we say that we do not simply interview a person, we empathize with the problem owners, with the users themselves. What is the difference between knowledge gathering and empathizing? Empathizing is when we put ourselves in the place or in the shoes of that person, how the people feel. So let's go back to the problem of e-learning for students. Did we empathize before we rolled out na, sige, o lahat ng mga schools kailangan naka-webinar yan, kailangan ganito. We have to ask at the first place, are they equipped? How do they feel about it? How do majority of the population feel about online learning for students? Walang problema pag sa corporations, ganyan. Kasi equip pang corporation, we're more or less exposed to this. But majority of our schools, I used to do a lot of rounds with Knowledge Channel, and we visited most of our public schools in the whole Philippines, hanggang Mindanao yan, South Cotabato. We went to the public schools. And we took a look at it. Were they embracing, before we actually started the whole idea of televised TV shows, educational shows, we had to get the pulse of the people. Are they open for it? And then it was found out that the people were not, the students, the barangays, were not really fully equipped. So what did Knowledge Channel do? They now first installed satellite dishes sa mga barangay. That would then enable, because you have to get that, and then before doing that, they found out what type of shows the children likes and would really learn from, right? So before they even started doing that, so they empathize now with the masses. Then they defined now, because of that one, they found out we have to create a TV show that is educational, at the same time entertaining, and we have to enable that would be easily accessible by most of the public schools in our rural and in our urban area. So they defined it. Then they got together, and then they ideated. They now laid out all their suggestions based now on this defined problem that was created when they empathized with the people. Empathize and not sympathize. A big difference between empathy and sympathy. Sympathy, yung naaawa ka. Yung empathize, yung naiintindihan mo kung bakit ka naaawa. That's a big difference, okay? So then after that, from the idea, they chose now the best one. And they created, this is where it makes a difference, a prototype. Remember kanina sabi ko na you learn by doing. Ito, design thinking is you learn by making. It is learning by making. You rapidly create, sa design sprints, rapidly create a prototype to be tested. Why? No? In design sprints later on, the recipe was created in order, kasi syempre, kapag gagawin niyo yung solution, malaking commitment yan for a corporation. In order to minimize the commitment, kasi 5 days lang mabilis mo lang ginawa yung prototype mo, hindi ganun ka-complicated, sometimes in paper lang, sometimes it's just a, what do you call that one, yung mag-a-acting lang kayo, you're going to try to, gagawa lang kayo mga personas, diba? So, maliit ang investment mo for that one, then they test. And then there may be some results. It may fail, it may succeed, and then if it fails, then go back again. Bakit nag-fail? Go back, empathize ka ulit. So, ganun yung design thinking. So then, that's what Knowledge Channel did. They now created the prototype in about three barangays, and they tested it. And when it worked, that was the only, pero it did not work right away. They had to tweak it, go back to Empathize, they had to go back to the barangays. O bakit? Ano nangyari? Anong sabi ng mga children? Masyado bang boring? Boring ba masyado yung TV shows natin? O sige, lagyan natin ngayon ng ano, yung iba ba? There are older children that they do not like to be spoon-fed. Okay, let's do this. So they tweaked it now. And then only when it was perfectly accepted by the students did they really roll it out. Diba? So yun, they were already starting. Way back in 1990s when Knowledge Channel was conceptualized and I was 3 years old. Okay, 1990. Joke lang yun. Hindi mo nakuha, Jong. Joke, no? So that was way back before.
I was trying to analyze. I was trying to do the numbers, ma'am. Yeah.
Okay, so then, yan yung design thinking. So if everything is clear, we will now go straight to design sprints. I'll just fast forward. Okay, what are the advantages of design sprints? Again, no, I mentioned this kanina, pero it is a smaller commitment when it comes to cost, scope, lalo na time. Kasi 5 days lang. So, pag meron kang bagong service or bagong product that you want to come out with, or a solution to a wicked problem that you want to test or to come out with, ang commitment mo lang dito 5 araw. So 5 araw lang, 5 days lang ang mawawala sa iyo. And you can already come up with a prototype that you can test kung okay siya, if it works. So it finds solutions to critical business problems or create new products or services. Ang pinakamaganda nito is something that people are starting, corporations are starting to embrace right now. It is investment in people. It is getting everyone on board. It is a cooperation. It is enlightenment of the team. So it has an enormous power to bring team members on the same page. Eh di ba ang laking problema natin yan? Kasi iba-iba yung ideas eh. Iba-iba yung pinag-uusapan, iba-iba yung mga gusto nila. Pero what it does, design sprints, it brings everyone together to come out with the best possible ideas that they have. I want to add to this one. Ang maganda din sa design sprints kasi rapid eh. Ang bilis nito eh. It now gives you that it now awakens that part of your brain to be very creative kasi you're given a deadline eh. You have to, usually we are very creative when we are pushed to a corner. So this is what design sprints does. So hindi lang siya small commitment pagdating sa time, sa pera, sa investment. Ang bilis, time efficient to. And it brings team members together. And it now sparks up that part of our brain to be creative and think of, bakit di ko naisip yun? Diba? And minsan, diba, pag when we're watching TV and then there is a problem of the government or any other corporation, meron tayong mga aha moments eh. And this is what the science sprints does. It brings forth those aha moments. So, well, diba, you were asking me, kailan ginagamit to? Launching new product or service, extending an existing experience to a new platform, pati sa pag-add ng new features and functionality to any product, opportunities to improve a product or service, right? Supporting organizations in their transformation. Kasi it's all about change. It's all about change kasi ang bilis mong gawin. So it is, in other words, parallel to our idea that the world is ever changing. And so we have to come up with a methodology. We have to come up with a recipe that would enable us to change and to think of solutions that will adapt to those changes right away. So, ayan. What types of projects are perfect fit for design sprints? We make the design of existing product, search for a creative solution to a specific problem. Actually, if you take a look at it, lahat eh. The need to align multiple visions or departments, whether it's in marketing, technology, complex issues, creation and validation of new disruptive or innovative business models. Yung mga bagong mga methodologies nyo, yung mga bagong yung mga processes, mag-ISO kayo, mag-design thinking muna kayo, mag-design sprint, how are you going to implement the ISO standards within your corporation, exploration of an opportunity and its validation through prototyping, because it focuses not only in the the people, but also in prototyping for those humans. Kailan siya hindi pwede or hindi ganun ka-suitable? The product is already well-defined. Kung talagang alam niyo mag-scientific method na lang kayo or mag-analytical, nandyan eh. Diba? You already know what you're going to do. And then let's not go through the motion of design thinking. Let's just do it. Aka nga kay Nike. Diba? The project requires extensive preliminary research. Hindi natin magagamit yung design sprints kasi 5 araw lang. 5 days lang. E di gawin nyo muna yung research pagkatapos mag-design sprints kayo. The project must be completed within a few days. Less than. Completed, hindi prototype. Kasi yung design sprints, you come up with a prototype at the end. And you test it. But when it has to be completed, as in ready to roll, wag na muna. Medyo pag-isipan natin to. The scope and business are not yet defined. I-define nyo muna before you get into it. The team does not wish to get personally involved in the creative process. Hindi, kasi team-centered to eh. It's a collaborative tool, in fact. So you need the cooperation and collaboration of all team members in this one. So, napaka-importante. So, clear ba to, Sir John?
So far, so good, Bam. We have a quick question here from Sam Acosta of Active Index. His question, Bam, is between design thinking, which is, of course, mindset, as we can see now, versus access to tools or technologies, which is more challenging to change and how to balance both.
Okay, again, that's a very good question. That now enables me to go back to this one. Design thinking is a philosophy. You're talking about design thinking. Are you talking about design sprints or design thinking? I'm sorry.
The design thinking mindset itself, Bam.
Okay, that is a mindset. It's a discipline. Ang tools mo yan. Tools is design sprint. Ano, yung tool mo, nagagawin mo talaga. In actuality. Now you're asking, what is the difference between this and Jong?
Versus access to tools or technologies.
You are going to be accessing all the tools possible, all the other tools in this recipe. You're going to make use of it. And you will see that later on when we go through the steps. Okay. Again, zoom out yung design thinking, mas zoom in ngayon tong recipe. Anong gagawin mo kapag lalo mong zoom in, dun mo na ngayon gagamitin lahat ng possible brainstorming, gagamitin mo yung crazy eights, magagamitin mo din yung mga expert yung Delphi method, lahat ng iba gagamitin mo nito in order to come up with ideas and ideate. So you will be using all those tools for this recipe that is under this discipline. Okay.
All right. Got you, Bam. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions before we
That's it so far, Bam. That's it so far. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. So again, design sprints, 5 days. Example na lang itong Monday to Friday, pero 5 days na, no? So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Not more than 8 hours per day. Why? Bakit? Bakit not more? Huwag niyong isagad ng more than that one because you will be so tired for the next day. These are very busy days. So again, we would like to emphasize, emphasize ako ng emphasize, 5 days, not more than 8 hours per day. Because this is very intensive. Okay, so 5 days yan, ha? Before you start with your design sprints, you have to make sure that you are composed of a team of the right people. Very important yan. Again, this is rapid problem solving and decision making. Rapid. So your people have to be equipped. They have to be cooperative. They have to be open to new ideas. They have to be open to criticism. Ito yung pinaka-importante. Another reason why design thinking fails is that we forget the crit. We forget the crit part. And we're not accepting the crit part. Each of our ideas will be criticized by all the team members. Sa umpisa pa lang actually in the start pa naman, di ba, remember, we go back to design thinking, empathize, right? Empathize, you're talking to people, you will be hearing a lot of criticisms. And you have to be open to that one. If you're not open to criticisms, we will not be able to change. If we are not open to accepting the areas of improvement, we will not be able to improve. It starts with us. So your team has to be well equipped. They have to be open-minded to the possibility of being criticized. Ang hirap nito kasi especially when you have a perfect idea in your head. When you think, this is the solution to it all. And then somebody criticizes your idea. Bigla ka mag-setback ka. You're going to, ayoko na magsalita kasi no. This team has to be open to it. They have to be mature enough to accept and work on whatever criticism they have. So yun yung team mo. Pagkatapos prepare ka ng brief. Parang project charter. You have to prepare a brief to state ano ba yung mga goals natin to bring everyone on the same page. Remember again, this is rapid. So everyone, communication has to be clear. They have to know what are we talking about. Ano ba pinag-uusapan natin? What are we going to be doing? They have to know that before you even start on the first day. You have to conduct research into insights so you can inform yung buong team mo what's going to be doing, what they're going to be doing. Again, so it is done by teams, not individuals. You cannot do a design sprint alone. You have to be a team. Because I'm sure a lot of you out there, sige, ako na lang gagawa ako ng design sprint kasi ready na ako to. Wala akong team kasi work from home kami. Hindi pwede. Kailangan talaga nito. You need a collaborative tool. If you're working from home, actually Zoom walang problema. In fact, this is the perfect tool nowadays. Wherein you are under ECQ. You will find out later why. Okay? Dito have a suitable space for sprint. In the perfect world, in the world BC before coronavirus, no, we could all gather in one space. Tapos meron tayong merienda, meron tayo diyang naka-aircon, everything, and then we have all our papers together. Now we have to make use of a platform, web platform that would enable us to do this. And Zoom is a very good platform. Now, there are a lot of LMSs out there also, no? That enables you to form breakout groups. Ang dami niyan. Nasa Moodle, pwede kang gumamit ng Moodle. Although hindi dapat ako nag-endorse ng kahit ano, pero sinabi ko na. Kasi I'm sure you're going to ask later. So, okay, yon. That's how we prepare. Now that we have prepared, we now start with the first day. The first day, we call it map. That is understand. Kasi nag-empathize ka na, di ba? Sabi doon sa design thinking. You have to, yung first phase ng cycle ng design thinking is empathize. Remember when you prepared, you already empathized, you already knew what the problem was all about, you already talked to the users, you were able to gather information, you're able to understand talaga what the problem. So then, what happens now, in the first day, you're ready, you gather your team. O, day 1 na tayo, Monday na. Let's understand the problem. And then you have to tell your team about this. So gagawa kayo ng mga lightning talks. Ano ba yung lightning talks? Each member of the team, pwedeng you call it lightning talks, or you can later on, I'll tell you what Crazy 8 is all about. Lightning talks, each team member is given about 15 minutes to talk about everything he knows about understanding the problem. Everything he knows about the problem, not more than 15 minutes. If there are solutions out there, kasi you gathered already information in preparing, right? If there are solutions out there, meron na siyang baon na mga solution na pwede niyang pwede niyang i-demonstrate. So kapag time na niya for the lightning talks, ide-demo na niya ngayon to, right? I'm sure na magkakaroon ako ng dislike dito because I'm talking in Tagalog pag pinost mo to sa YouTube, pero I will accept that. Okay, so kasi isa nag-dislike kasi foreigner eh. Hindi niya naintindihan, sorry na lang siya. Okay, so yun, no? Demonstration. Walkthrough, creating user journeys ng mga dating mga nangyari, solutions before that you want to propose. Remember, this is the understanding day, so you want to put it all out there. Gusto mong ipalabas. So, lahat ito yung mga dating nag-work, these are my ideas, these are the information that I gathered from the expert. Each team member will now be given 15 minutes to talk about that one. Wag naman what is the best number of people? 5. Not more than 5 in a team. Kasi kung hindi, aabutin kayo ng buong araw just talking about it and giving it. Then, you have to create the metrics ready for success. Why? Kasi at the end, when you test it, you have to know whether it's a success or not based on the metrics. So, maglalagay na kayo ng metrics. Kapag 90% ito naging, kunyari, 1 to 5, no? 1 being the most unsatisfactory and 5 being the most satisfactory. So, pag nagawa tayo ng user testing, pagkatapos biglang nagbigay tayo ng evaluation form, at kapag majority sa kanila, kapag yung average natin is 3.5, okay na yan, roll out na natin. So, we're going to create now metrics of success. Okay. Remember, they have to be not pulled out of thin air. Hindi yung, sige, pag lahat sila okay. Hindi ganon. You have to create a measurable metric. Okay. Example ng day 1. So, 10 o'clock a.m., introduction of the design sprint. So, sabi mo, okay, so we're now going to undergo a 5-day collaborative problem-solving and decision-making tool or recipe, which we call design sprint. Okay? So, your challenge for today is that this is the problem. So, yung lahat ng team members ngayon will present now how he understands about the problem. And then, meron tayong pag-uusapan nyo, ito yung target users natin, itong kumpanyan to, o kaya itong age group na to. And then, you're going to now tell them, itong age group na to, gusto nila ganito. Kasi nag-empathize ka na eh. Remember, before the first day, you already empathize with the user. And then, end of day. Ganun lang yan. Understand. Any questions before I proceed to the next stage, Joe?
So far, so good, Bam. Please proceed.
Inom lang ako.
Yes.
Shadow ako na-excite.
Wow.
Na-excited ako masyado. Ganito lang talaga ako. Okay, so, remember again, no? What was day 1? Day 1 was map or understand. Day 2 ngayon, sketch. Ano ba yung sketch? Diverge. Ibig sabihin, madali lang yan eh. Kasi medyo yung terminology, magdodrawing kami, ayaw ko magdrawing, hindi. Ibig sabihin yan, you get as many ideas down as possible. Kasi pinag-usapan na niyo eh. Alam na niyo yung problema, you're all clear. At the end of day 1, kailangan talingin mo sa kanila. Is everyone clear? Does everyone understand what we're going to do? Does everyone understand what the problem actually is? Do you know who the users are? Kapag lahat sila positive, okay, go, o sige. Second day. O kung alam na nyo, o sige, anong solusyon? So, ang mangyayari ngayon to, this is the reason why they call it, diba sabi natin, sketch or diverge. Diverge kasi hiwalay-hiwalay kayo. Remember, you're about 5, no? Walang pakialamanan. Go on your own. you now sketch or write down all the ideas that you think, all the possible solutions to the problem that you were able to define or map out during day 1. So, kanya-kanya kayo. Hindi kayo magpapansinan, hindi kayo magkakakilala. Nag-diverge kayo. Diversion. Hindi kayo mag-uusap. Okay? So, as much as possible, except at the end of the day. Example, introduction. So, sasabihin, sige, benchmarking. Ito, bago tayo magsimula, ito yung metrics natin just to be clear. Kasi mahirap niyan kapag babalik ka dyan, tapos sasabihin, ano ba metrics natin? Hindi ko naiintindihan yung problem. So, first, ano muna tayo? Then, after that, sasabihin nyo, ito this is what we're going to do. We're going to write it down on paper. O kaya you're going to create a PowerPoint demonstration. O kaya you're going to put it down on, ano pa ba? Kapag sa Zoom, i-chat group nyo or something, no? Tapos, yun. So, magkakahiwalay na tayo. Now, what is Crazy 8? Crazy 8 is when people are ready to present their ideas. You're given 8 minutes to think of 8 best ideas possible. Napansin nyo, 8 minutes. 8 minutes, 8 ideas. Tanong ko ngayon kay Sir Jong. Sige, go. 3 minutes. Bigyan kita ng 3 minutes, 3 ideas. 3 minutes, 3 ideas pagdating dun sa online learning ng mga bata ngayon. Go.
Okay, maybe give them digital crayons, Crayola. Second, maybe give them what I couldn't think, ma'am.
No, di ba? Grabe, di ba? Kasi what it does now is fires up your brain to really think. It targets that part of your brain that comes up with those aha moments.
Mm-hmm.
Kasi when you're put under pressure, this is a Crazy 8, then yung mga synapses dun sa brain natin, yung mga nagko-connect, now fires up. And those dormant cells in our brains are now challenged to come up with ideas. Di ba, sabi nga nila usually invention, di ba? Ang necessity is the mother of invention. And that is when people are pushed to the limit that they're able to come up with the greatest ideas of the world. But they change the world. And that is what makes you change the world, those great ideas. So this is what happens then. Tapos, ano na sila? So they already have their ideas, they came up with it, and then, hindi pa pumipili, hindi pa nila pinipilin to. And then they sketch it. Ano ba yung sketch? They either write it down or draw it. The important thing about day 2 is not to introduce a new technology of sketching. Wag niyong lagay na, sige, everyone, kailangan i-3D render nyo to. Hindi pa sila marunong mag-3D render. Hindi pa sila sanay. So, this is not the day to learn to use other tools in doing this. Hindi kami marunong magpareto. Kailangan matuto muna kami. No. The tools that they know how to use, they use it. The fastest possible. I always suggest Post-its, sketchpads. Kasi sketchpad, pinaka madaling mag-write down O kaya, yung computer nyo, if possible, pero better yung sulat lang kayo. There is, how do you call this? There is a result in that writing that people have now forgotten Kasi iba kasi pag nagsusulat ka Kasi it's 2 actions kesa nagsa-type ka. And when you're drawing, it's a different part of your brain. Okay, that is fired up also. Okay, so any questions before I go to the next day?
Very good, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay. So day 1 mapping. Naku, 203 na. Okay lang, Jong?
Go ahead, ma'am.
Hindi, hanggang day 3 na lang tayo. Okay, so bibilisan ka na. Okay. Anyway, all of this naman, pagdating natin sa workshop lato. So, okay, go. Day 3. Day 3, di ba kanina, sabi natin, day 2, di ba, diverge. Ito, converge. Lahat ng mga ideas nyo, presentan nyo, panahon na. Nung hindi tayo nag-uusap, ngayon mag-usap na tayo. Yan. Magde-decide tayo ngayon. Siyempre, bago ka mag-present ng idea, you have to list down all the assumptions para hindi naman sila although be open to criticism, pero at least you're all on the same page, like what I said, baseline. Tapos lahat ngayon kayo, magre-review ng idea sa present based dun sa unang goals, based on the goals and objectives and the conflicts that you first presented during day 1. And then, you're going to now list it all down and then choose ka na at the end of the day. Ano yung mga ideas sa pinakagusto natin, tapos gawa ka ng storyboard. So that is going to happen in day 3. Example, discovery, tapos presentation of concepts, syempre may kasamang lunch, tapos planning the test, preparation of test scenarios, tapos bago mag-prototype, ito yung gagawin natin instructions. Kasi bukas mag-prototype tayo, ito yung pinili natin solution. Bukas gagawa tayo ng prototype. So, yun yung mangyayari sa day 3. Day 4 na tayo. Day 4, so again, day 1, map or understand. Day 2, diverge o kaya sketch. Kanya-kanya kayo. Day 3, pili na tayo. Nag-converge na tayo to find out. Nag-decide na tayo. Day 4, kung ano yung dinecide natin na the best sa lahat, gawin natin. Gawa tayong sample. Again, design thinking and design sprints is all about prototyping. It is learning by making. Okay? By making. So, build na tayo ng prototype. Build tayo ng prototype, storyboard natin, tapos the easiest tool, kung kailangan tayo mag-fold ng paper para makita natin if it is a product, if it is a service, kung kailangan natin mag-action, ano ba tawag dito? Role-playing. Kung kailangan natin mag-role-playing, kung kailangan natin gumawa ng personas, then let's do this one. So, assign tasks and get everyone building. Again, it is a collaborative tool. Everyone should be doing this together. Very important. Sample. Creation of the prototype. Pagkatapos, tingnan na, the project manager will take a look. Is the prototype being done? Is everyone on the same page? Diba? Tapos, before the end of the day, last modification. Kasi bukas, iti-test na natin yung prototypes na yan. The next day is a ready testing, which is the final day. Remember those people that we first empathized with and asked and interviewed before we started the first day of mapping. Those same people are the people that we're going to test the prototype on. Okay, so ngayon, bring them all together. Nawala na naman yung mouse ko. Nawawala pala yung mouse ko. Yan, okay. Validate and test. Okay. Bring in the group of end users. Diba? Now, you can also bring in experts na hindi mo pwede mo kinausap mo dati or hindi, para merong ibang view naman. Ibang view. Then bring them in and then gawa ka ng mga walkthrough, gawa ka ng mga usability tests, i-testing mo sa kanila. And then everyone, the important thing about this one, take notes, mag-record, document. Very important. Then at the end of the day, we have to decide if it is a success or not. If it needs reiterating or improving. And that is the end of the 5-day period. Deliverables at the end of the 5 days, answers to a set of vital questions that you first mapped out. Finding yung prototype mismo ng produkto that you're going to roll out. Diba? Usability feedbacks, right? Plan for next step just in case na nag-succeed, anong gagawin natin next? I-roll out na ba natin? Gagawin na natin, i-build na natin talaga kasi ngayon, invest ka na. Kasi kanina, maliit lang yung investment mo kasi prototype lang, pwedeng papel lang yun eh. Now, build it. Invest your money, your time, your energy, your people. And validate your hypothesis before committing resources to build your sprinted. Tatlong possible outcome niyan at the end of the 5 days. An efficient failure. Bakit efficient failure? Nag-fail nga, pero may lessons learned. You learned something. A flawed success. Okay siya, kaso merong mga points na we need to tweak. Or an epic win. Yun na. We will do this. We will come out with the final product. So that's yan. Efficient failure, lessons learned, flawed success, okay, but needs to be tweaked, or an epic win. 3 possible outcomes. Okay, so okay na. In conclusion, design sprints maximizes time, reduces risks, quickly finds, rapid yan, 5 days lang yan, quickly finds solutions, and boosts internal communication, which is the most important thing nowadays. Because remember, the strength of a corporation resides in your people. And the maturity and the mortality of a corporation is also decided on its ability to adapt to changes and problems and to make decisions. Remember, design thinking sparks creativity. Creativity is needed nowadays, especially for those wicked problems. Okay, so again, this is just a patikim. Okay, this is just your, how do you call this, a checklist. We hope that you really embrace not only the discipline of design thinking, but the tool of design sprints. Because that is what we need nowadays. The world is ever changing and we don't know if tomorrow may bago na naman tayong SECQ, na surprise na naman na may bago na naman tayong bibigay sa atin na we would not know what to do. And corporations would not know how to go about it in solving whatever our internal and external problems are right now. So when we do offer that full-blown seminars, we're going to now give also not only enlighten you again with the steps of design thinking and also design sprints, we're going to do an actual workshop. Kasi sabi nga natin learning by prototyping, ito learning by doing. Okay, so with that one, Q&A. Wala na siguro, John. Meron pa ba?
Wow, thank you. Thank you very much, Bam. Again, let's all give Bam a huge digital virtual round of applause, please. As always, a brilliant mind itong si Bam talaga. And
Thank you.
yeah, thank you very much, Bam. And as Bam mentioned, this is of course just an overview, but again, we hope that you were able to really get at least just a small value out of this talk. And personally, Bam, this is a really wonderful tool, something that is not usual, like the standard PSDM we're doing. And very, very interesting, very interesting. So thank you for walking.
John, can I just put in one? Sorry pero ito na naman ako pero sanay ka na sa akin. Kasi yung dati, the way that we used to do, ano pa yan 1990s pa yan nowadays, this is what is required by corporations to be creative in finding solutions. So this is kind of one of the best tools and disciplines when it comes to problem solving and decision making, and no matter what industry, but for wicked problems. Thank you, John.
All right. So thank you very much, Bam, again. And as mentioned by Bam, we're also going.
Wala si John.
Okay, there you go. Sorry, my microphone was switched off. As I was saying, Bam, thank you very much. We'll keep you posted on the full courses that we're going to run on design thinking. That's really a wonderful tool right there. Thank you for walking us through, Bam, and for our participants who always stay tuned to us. Thank you very much. And watch out for these courses we're running again in the coming days. We'll also send this to you in your email. And I'm not quite sure if it's actually showing on screen. So let me just check again. Okay. Mike, can you actually see this? So let me just, okay, let me just go back to my panel here. Stop share. Okay, there you go. And please do not forget to fill up the quick exit polls, because we'd like also to know what your thoughts are, and let us know what topics would you like to be discussed, included in these free webinars. We do this every week, like I said, and on your screen, I hope you can see the next schedule. So, and you can register through this program through Facebook, email us, or you may personally call us in these numbers. And of course, go to our Facebook if you'd like to register. We always post the links there. Go to our YouTube. We upload the recordings of all these webinars so you can go back to the discussions, okay? And next week, we're going to talk about objectives, targets, and program settings. So this is still with BAM. And this is another exciting course, by the way, because BAM will run us through another a methodology, concept in setting strategies, defining goals for organizations. Maybe, Bob, just one last quick question for you. Because our audience right now, they're coming from different sectors, industries. So not all of them will be coming from big private corporations. Can this sprint BAM, can this design thinking be applied to, say, a public sector or a small and medium enterprise organization?
Definitely. In fact, it is highly recommended, even especially for small corporations who do not have that much budget to come up with a solution that failed. Kasi di ba, pag nag-waterfall methodology ka define a problem at the end, you're going to roll it out already, yung pala nag-fail. Di ba? You already committed all your resources into creating that solution. Ang ginagawa kasi ito, prototype trial muna. Remember nung bata tayo, before we came out with, di ba pag gagawa tayo ng mga bahay-bahay, ito-drawing muna natin, tapos gagawa muna tayong diorama. Diba? So parang ganun yan making something and seeing if it will work before the actual final solution.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you very much, Bam. Again, as always, brilliant mind there, Bam Ramirez. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll keep you posted. And I can see we have about 94 participants in this room. We have delegates from Cebu Normal University, from different local government units, private organizations. So thank you really for joining us. And we hope to see you again next week. You stay safe, stay healthy, stay tuned to our weekly free webinars. And we hope in this small way of sharing knowledge, we can help you grow your organizations through management system. So I am John Fernandez. It's my pleasure. I'll see you next week. Bam, thank you very much. And such a wonderful job right there. Thank you very much.